for watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Well, the captain's left ankle is healing. He will not play today. He should play in the game in about 2 weeks, but he's running and taking batting practice. A lot of stars are going to be in the lineup today as you get your first look at the 2013 New York Yankees. Those guys are happy that you could catch us right here on Yes. New York Yankees baseball is presented by Verizon Fios. And this afternoon, it's the New York Yankees against the Toronto Blue Jays in an exhibition game from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball. Along with Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. This is the 12th year of the Yes Network. We're so thrilled that you could join us. We have 19 spring training games that we will broadcast, 150 games during the regular season, so we're glad that you are along for the ride. The Yankees started playing in 1903, 2013, and they are ready to roll, coming off a 95-win season last year. A lot of stories in camp, Kenny, and one of them is a little flipperoo out in center field and left.
Well, Brett Gardner's now moving from left field to center field. I think the Yankees gained by putting their fastest player in the organization patrol center field. Now, as far as Granderson is concerned, moving to left field, it's not that he did a bad job in center, but I've always maintained you need center fielder skills at Yankee Stadium. A spacious left field, a tough sun field at that. So Granderson, he has the tools to play left field as well.
Not set in stone yet. They want to take a look, and if they feel good about it after the end of spring training, then that will be the deal in the opening day lineup on April 1st against the Red Sox. Let's take a look at the pitching matchup. Today's pitching matchup brought to you by Verizon Fios. Jay Happ is going to go for the Blue Jays, 10-11, 4.79. That's last year. Adam Warren last year at AAA, 7-8 with a 3.71 ERA. Coming up, we've got Yankee baseball. You've been waiting all winter for this, and as I said, this Yankee lineup is loaded with stars, names that you know. We are ready to roll. Lineups, first pitch, baseball next, right here on Yes. Today's Game on Yes is brought to you in part by Tri Honda. Hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2013 Accord during our President's Day sale. And by IMG Academy Youth Sports Camps and Private School. Become more at IMG Academy. Well, it's an overcast day here in Tampa, Florida. There is rain in the forecast, but we're hoping that we can get in baseball. And let's take a look at the Toronto Blue Jays starting lineup that's going to face the New York Yankees, and that lineup is presented by our good friends at Hyundai. The Blue Jays won their first game yesterday, as did the Yankees, so both teams are 1-0 coming into this. Anthony Gose, the center fielder, will lead off. Emilio Bonifacio, the second baseman, bats second. Former Yankee Melky Cabrera in left field hits third. Batting fourth, the DH Brett Laurie. Luis Jimenez, the first baseman, will bat fifth. Batting sixth and catching is Henry Blanco. Ryan Langerhans is in right field, will bat seventh. Andy LaRoche, the third baseman, bats eighth. And Lance Zawadzki is the shortstop, and he is going to bat ninth. And there is John Gibbons for his second tour of duty as the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, and the starter for the Yankees, Adam Warren.
Adam Warren, a 25-year-old right-handed pitcher from North Carolina, New Bern, North Carolina. Those are his numbers last year at Scranton Wilkes-Barre in AAA, 26 starts, 7-8 record. And he actually got a chance to pitch in the big leagues, one start for the New York Yankees. Let's check out our pitcher scouting report on young Mr. Warren. He was a terrific Tar Heel. We mentioned he lives in New Bern, North Carolina. Actually, is a graduate of the University of North Carolina. And while he was there, as a pitcher, he went 32-4. An excellent record. He's got a good sinking fastball. He can get up there about in the mid-90s with a four-seamer. And last year we mentioned that one start he had with the Yankees. That came on June 29th at Yankee Stadium against the Chicago White Sox. It was kind of a fall start, Michael. He only lasted 2 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 6 runs. That was his only appearance in a Yankee uniform last year. And he might get a chance this year if he goes down to AAA, pitch, open some eyes here in camp this spring.
And after one bad start, he actually did get called up on September 1st, but never saw action in that second time. There's Kevin Youkilis. He's the newest Yankee. He's a third baseman. Over at shortstop, you've got Eduardo Nunez. The second baseman is Robinson Cano, and Mark Teixeira over at first. In the outfield, yes, the new alignment that Kenny spoke about earlier. Granderson, Gardner, and Ichiro left to right. Chris Stewart for that starting catching position. He'll be behind the plate. We told you all you need to know about Adam Warren. He's on the mound pitching. Another full house here at Steinbrenner Field. They're still filing in. Anthony Gose is ready, and let's do it here in Tampa. And the first pitch is outside, and we are underway.
So Anthony Gose a bit in the big leagues last year with the Toronto Blue Jays. He's got a world of speed. He's going to have a tough time breaking into the outfield this year for Toronto, though.
Blue Jays a vastly improved team. Foul back. Made a big deal with the Marlins. Picked up Josh Johnson, Mark Burley, 2 of their 5 starters, and shortstop Jose Reyes. And then they made that big deal with the Mets to pick up the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. Strike 3 as Warren freezes Anthony Gose. Now, John Gibbons, the recipient of all that new talent, as the Blue Jays are certainly going for it. And this is the trade that kind of jump-started them during their offseason, that trade with the Marlins. We mentioned Johnson, Reyes, and Burley. John Buck, the catcher, also came along, and he ended up going to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal. And Emilio Bonifacio also in that trade. And those are the players that the Marlins got from the Blue Jays. And really what that trade was about is getting rid of big contracts for the Marlins, and the Blue Jays gladly took them on.
Yeah, salary dumps and trading prospects to the Marlins. It's not like the Marlins haven't done that before. They've done that a couple of times and rebuilt their ball club over the years into world championship teams. But you can imagine when Mark Burley signed with them and Jose Reyes did, they thought they were going to be with the Marlins for a long, long time. Should have gotten no trade clauses,
which the Marlins do not hand out, but you wonder if they held out for it and they had leverage if they would have gotten them, but they didn't, and they ended up getting traded after 1 year. The 1-2. So the Yankees have a lot of competition in the American League East. Yeah. Every one of the 5 teams in the East has a chance to make the playoffs, and every one of them has a chance to stumble as well. Joe Girardi, whose team won 95 games last year, he feels good about this team. 83 players are in camp, which is unbelievable. When they were lined up on the first baseline for the national anthem, the Yankee roster all the way down to right field. That's how many players are in camp.
You know, we could play 4 games today and not everybody would get in the games.
You're right. The 2-2. 3-2.
One thing to watch from Adam Warren here, he's got good control of his fastball. There's no problem. That control is one thing, command's another. You control your fastball by throwing it over the plate. You command it by throwing it to the corners. And that's one thing he didn't do in that start against the Chicago White Sox.
Grounded to Teixeira. Gets a nice hop and flips it to Warren. And there are 2 down.
Well, there's our first look at what the pitchers have been practicing. They got here earlier, of course, about 5 or 6 days before the position players. And one thing they practice right from the start, breaking off the mound, covering first base. Anytime the ball is hit to the right side, it's the pitcher's job. He's reminded by the catcher usually to break off the mound, get over there, and try and beat the runner to the bag. The sheriff's going to give him a nice lead like he usually does, and it turns out to be an easy play. Hopefully all of them will go that smoothly for the Yankees this year.
Here's the former Yankee, Melky Cabrera, suspended last year in the middle of the season for the San Francisco Giants for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. He actually missed the Giants' World Series run. He was eligible to come back in the middle of the playoffs, and the Giants decided not to activate him. And when he was suspended, he had the highest batting average in the National League. But that was wiped away. He did not win the title, and he ended up signing a 2-year free agent deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. Another addition to a completely different squad than last year.
$16 million deal for 2 years after being suspended for 50 games.
Strike 3 as Melky Cabrera is down looking. Impressive first inning for Adam Warren. Blue Jays down 1-2-3, and the Yankees coming about. Warren looked very good. Now it's the Yankees offense chance against the Blue Jays. Left-hander Jay Hatt. Let's take a look at that Yankee offense. The lineup put together by manager Joe Girardi. Brett Gardner's going to lead off. He's in center field. Batting second and playing right field, Ichiro Suzuki. Robinson Cano at second will bat third. Cleaning up, first baseman Mark Teixeira. Curtis Granderson is in left field. He'll bat fifth. Batting sixth, the newest Yankee third baseman Kevin Youkilis. Travis Hafner, another new Yankee at DH, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Eduardo Nunez, and Chris Stewart will catch. He'll bat ninth.
Left-hander on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays, Jay Happ, 30 years old. He went 7-9 for Houston last year, and then was traded to the Blue Jays in July and went 3-2 for the team north of the border. And his numbers last year: 28 starts, 28 games, 24 starts. You can see the 10-11 record overall. There's a scouting report on Jay Happ. Here's a young man who came through the Phillies organization. 3-time All-Big Ten at Northwestern University. And Joe Girardi's a Northwestern grad. He's got an excellent changeup, and he broke his foot, they think, at a game at Yankee Stadium on August 29th, and he went on the disabled list for on September 4th, and from that point on, the Blue Jays were hapless.
Get it? There's a strike to Brett Gardner. Speaking of disabled list, his whole season last year was derailed because of an elbow injury. He did see some action in the playoffs, and Yankees have high hopes for him.
Watching Brett in batting practice, and Michael, he hit everything on the nose. He looked like he was in midseason form. Of course, he's got the great speed. The Yankees really missed him last year. 2 years ago, he led the league in stolen bases. And I think in a way, and we talked about this before the game, as you look at the hitting coach Kevin Long, that how Gardner's absence affected Curtis Granderson. Granderson had to play just about all the time. He didn't get many days off. And when he did play, he was always in the outfield. he was the only Yankee starter who didn't get a chance to DH during the course of the season, which in Joe Girardi's terms, that's a half a day off. So when Granderson was in there, he was playing the field. And I think because of the absence of Gardner, until Ichiro came along, there was nobody to play center.
Now this Yankee team is going to be a lot different than previous Yankee teams, because with free agent defections from last year, the Yankees lost about 100 home runs off their total. And Brian Cashman, Yankee GM, said we will not score as many runs as last year. We just won't. So those that really did not like the dependency on homers will get a chance to see a lot of stolen bases from the guy who just singled, Brett Gardner. Yankee team a bit different than the 95-win team from last year. They added Youkilis and Hafner. Sean Kelly, a right-handed pitcher, was just picked up. Matt Diaz trying to make the team, as is former Yankee Juan Rivera. So who's not here? Nick Swisher, Rafael Soriano, Russell Martin, Raul Ibanez, Andrew Jones, Eric Chavez, and Freddie Garcia. They all left as free agents. And Ichiro was re-signed to a 2-year deal. He was a free agent. The Yankees, after really played very well coming over from the Mariners, they decided, you know what, this guy's still in good shape despite his age. And that's what he did in 162 games with the Yankees and Mariners. And with the Yankees, he hit over 300. And they think he still has a lot of baseball left. Grounded softly to short. The force has made it second, just barely, as Gardner has gone down and Ichiro reaches on the fielder's choice.
Michael, you were talking about Ichiro's durability. As you take a look at his force play at second, Gardner, even with his speed, ball was not hit particularly well, but Sawatsky at short is going to get it to Bonifacio for the force play at second. Ichiro in his career, as we see another look at Gardner just being nipped at second base. 4 times Ichiro has played every game in the season, 162 games. In 4 other seasons, he missed just 1 game. So he's very durable.
Here's Robinson Cano. Yesterday, the Yankees beat the Braves in Disney, where the Braves train, 8-3. One of the highlights was Robinson Cano hit an opposite field home run. He had 33 home runs all of last year with 94 runs batted in. A lot of the RBIs and a lot of the average, the result of a very hot September. He did not have a typical Cano sort of year. And then his season was really ruined when he had one of the worst stretches of his career in the postseason. Just could not hit. Struggled in the 5-game series against the Orioles, which the Yankees won. And then against the Tigers, the Yankees got swept. In all 9 games, he was 3 for 40.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one that kind of slumped off during the postseason, though. It was almost like a team-wide slump.
And with Cano, it's so odd because he's such a good hitter and he's so fundamentally sound that, you know, we watch him sometimes go, how does he ever go into a slump? And then to go into a slump on the biggest stage under the brightest lights was a little startling to everybody, including Cano, who still hasn't figured out what happened. Fouled away.
Had a chance to talk to Robbie before the game. He is one of the Yankee players who will be leaving to participate in the World Baseball Classic. He's going to play for his native Dominican Republic. Mark Teixeira is going to play for the USA team. Several of the Yankee minor leaguers will be joining their respective countries' teams, and should be interesting to watch. It happens every 4 years. 2-time defending champion Japanese team.
That one is looped into left field. Coming on is Cabrera, and he makes the play to rob his buddy of a base hit. Cano and Cabrera are very close, but Cano's not feeling too good about Melky right now.
The one thing Cabrera brings, remember when he was with the Yankees, he had the capabilities of playing center field, which means he has the speed to cover a lot of ground wherever you put him. And he makes a nice diving catch here in center field. That might not feel so good on the artificial surface up at the Rogers Center. It's a little harder surface.
Count 1-0 to Teixeira. Inside.
You notice Happ with the sneaky fastball trying to get inside, although it was just 88 miles an hour. Because of all his off-speed stuff, it looks a lot harder, especially if he can place that fastball in the inner corner.
There's a line drive base hit to center field for Teixeira. You know, we mentioned some of the changes that the Yankees made over the offseason. Something stayed the same, but the Yankees reached into their wallet to re-sign these players. Mariano Rivera is back after missing 5 months last year with the knee injury. Andy Pettit has come back. Hiroki Kuroda as well, and we told you about Ichiro, the 2-year deal. So the Yankees have a lot of veterans on the team that they're hoping stay healthy and can play solid baseball through 162 games and further.
So far this inning, Happ is not really fooling anybody. One of the outs he got was a line drive off the bat of Cano. He's given up 2 hits.
Now Granderson, as you saw from the numbers, certainly hit for power last year, but he struck out so much and his average has really dipped that he's fallen into the trap of just aiming to hit home runs. And he's trying to become that same average hitter that he used to be, as well as have the home runs. And one of the things that they're going to look at in the experiment in the outfield, sometimes a position change you could take to the plate. And Girardi wants to see if it does disrupt what Granderson's trying to do at home plate. So that's why it's not set in stone that it'll stay that way.
Yeah, 232 was a career low for Granderson last year. And Michael mentioned the strikeouts. He set a club record, 195 strikeouts. But still, 43 home runs, 43 homers. Look out.
And he gets plunked to load the bases.
The target's low and away, and the pitch is nowhere near the target. It's actually up and in, and it clips Granderson on the right forearm, and he's being attended to down the right field line. That's one of the last things you want in spring training. Managers will tell you don't want anybody getting injured because it takes away from your time to get your work done, get prepared for the regular season. And right there, anytime you get hit around the hand or the wrist.
Well, they're taking him right out of the game. So that's a bad way to start spring training.
Well, they're not going to take any chances and let that thing blow up. What they'll do is they'll put some ice on it, get it attended to as quickly as possible in the Yankee clubhouse. Here's another look. And pinch runner at first base is going to be Ranier Mostillier. He was scheduled to come in for Granderson, but in the latter stages of this game.
Bases loaded for Kevin Youkilis. Youkilis was once the enemy. Prominent member of the Boston Red Sox, last year traded to the White Sox in the middle of the season and signed as a free agent with the Yankees. Fouled away. As an opponent, Youkilis serves as an irritant. As a teammate, you like the hard-nosed way that he plays. Derek Jeter said as much during spring training. I've always liked the way Youkilis played, and so does Andy Pettit. Those are the numbers between the two Sox teams last year. High fly ball. Deep right. Langerhans back on the track at the wall. He'll make the play for the final out of the inning. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 3 men left on base. We played 1 here at Steinbrenner Field. There's no score. Yankees and the Blue Jays.
hopefully get a chance to pitch at the big league level.
25-year-old Adam Warren had a very good first inning, and he's probably not battling for a rotation spot with the Yankees, but you make your impression here in spring training. There are scouts here. The Yankees know if somebody gets hurt, you could be the first guy up. Right now there's 6 guys battling for 5 spots, but in reality there are 2 guys battling for 1 spot. That's Ivan Nova and the guy who pitched yesterday. And there, Laurie gets hit, and you wonder if Warren, being a good teammate, I wonder if that happens in spring training, Kenny. Granderson got hit, and now Laurie gets hit.
You know, I don't think it's a spring training thing. This is a fastball that got away. Target's in. It's too far in. Laurie takes one. I don't think there's any retribution whatsoever. I mean, you don't want to hit the first guy of an inning and get something going. Usually when there's retribution, you wait. If you're the third guy hitting and there's 2 outs and nobody on, you almost know what's coming.
David Phelps pitched yesterday, pitched well against the Braves, and he will be battling Ivan Nova for that 5th spot. That ball gets away from Stewart, and Laurie will advance to second.
We'll see how they score that. It breaks off Stewart's glove. And to me, it didn't look like it was that difficult a chance. Maybe a sinking fastball, 2-seamer moving away. The target's towards the outside corner, which leads you to believe it's a sinker. Yeah, it is. And he just didn't handle it. So I would call that a pass ball.
Let's do it, Kenny.
All right, that's what I'm writing down. But I do have the whiteout just in case.
Jimenez with a ground ball to short. Nunez backhands the long throw. Got it. Nice play by Nunez. That is his natural position, and the Yankees are not putting him at third. They're not putting him in the outfield. They're not putting him at second. He'll be playing shortstop and get a lot of time out there, as Derek Jeter will not be in a game in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, when Nunez was sent to the minor leagues last year, the Yankees wanted him to concentrate on shortstop. Unfortunately, he was injured and didn't get that much playing time. But the Yankees recalled him, and actually he hit pretty well in the playoffs, didn't he? Michael, you talked about the depth in the pitching, and Adam Warren certainly falls into that category because there was only 1 team in the major leagues that used 5 starters all year long last year. That was the Cincinnati Reds. Never had to make a substitution to their starting rotation. Made Dusty Baker's job pretty easy.
Well, let's look at the game time weather conditions brought to you by Toyota. It's overcast, somewhat humid, 77 degrees, but no complaints. It is partly cloudy. In the Bronx, it's 44 degrees, which not terrible for the end of February, and mostly cloudy. Spring training games starting earlier this year because of the WBC. There's a fly ball to right. And Ichiro makes the play for the second half.
And with the way the Yankee outfield is set up now, Mustouye is in left field and replacing Granderson. But when Granderson's out there, you're talking about 3 players who are capable of playing center field. So there's plenty of speed, 3 very good arms. So the Yankee outfield this year should be well manned defensively. There's Ranier Mustouye. He's a defector from Cuba, and he's out there. I was talking to Stick Michael about him before the game today. He says this guy can really hit.
Here's Langerhans. Pitch outside. Now the Blue Jays don't have all of their big name players. They train in Dunedin, which is about 30 minutes away from here. But they have a split squad today, so the other half of the team is playing the Orioles. But Gibbons, the manager, decided to travel with this team. Last year's manager, John Farrell, essentially got traded to the Red Sox, as the Red Sox now have Farrell as their manager, replacing Bobby Valentine.
You know, it's interesting because this is Gibbons' second go-round with the Toronto Blue Jays. He had managed him from 04 to 08. And his record, 305 wins, 305 losses. So he was 50-50. Now, the reason he's back because he worked well with then assistant GM Alex Anthopoulos, who is now the general manager. So he gets the call.
The 1-2.
Well, look at the Blue Jays team scouting report brought to you by Tri Honda. John Gibbons returns, second go-around. We just mentioned that. The Blue Jays, with all their moves by the GM Alex Anthopoulos, energized fan base. The Blue Jay fans are buying tickets, and they're trying to get out of fourth place. 5 years in a row, they have finished fourth in the American League East.
So many people are high on the Blue Jays this year because of their off-season moves, but one thing that you should be cautioned about, you don't win the pennant in the winter, as the Marlins proved last year.
A lot of teams have proved that.
Lined into left field. Mostelier is there, and he puts it away for the final out of the second. So 2 scoreless innings for Adam Warren as the Blue Jays lead 1. We go to the bottom of the second. Front court of Zach Randolph, Mark Gasol, and the Memphis Grizzlies to Barclays Center. Coverage on Yes starts at 6:30 with the Verizon Fios pregame. Then Ryan Rugo and Mike Fratello have the call from courtside. It is only on Yes.
Rugo and Nazar, huh?
Rugo and Nazar. It's a new reality series on Yes later this summer. Will premiere.
Rugo and Nazar.
Yes. Here's Travis Hafner. There's a strike. Signed with the Yankees as a free agent. He will exclusively be the DH against right-handers, and the only question with Hafner is staying healthy. And he's had a hard time doing that the last couple of years. He's a big, powerful left-handed batter who, if he does stay in the lineup, Kenny, really could do damage at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, he could be very similar to Raul Ibanez, except Ibanez was able to play both right field and left field. Hafner is not going to pick up a glove and go out there defensively. He had been a first baseman for part of the time in Cleveland. Look out, up and in.
Whoa. It's a lot of problems staying on the field and missing significant amounts of time.
But when he was healthy in Cleveland, he had 4 straight years of 100 or more runs batted in.
And he looks at a called third strike for the first out.
First strikeout for Happ, and Hafner during the course of the regular season probably won't be facing too many left-handers, but Joe Girardi, in spring training, you can get your at-bats against just about all types of pitching. When it's your turn to play, you play.
Here is Eduardo Nunez. Eduardo started last season as kind of a jack of all trades for the Yankees. Yankees love his bat. He's got a live body, and they played him everywhere, and he just made too many errors. And they didn't think it was fair to move him around at such a young age. So they sent him down, as Kenny said, but he ended up getting hurt and really didn't see much action at AAA. But he was called up and did see action in the playoffs, especially after Derek Jeter got hurt in the first game against the Tigers. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Nunez this year, because I don't know if they want to carry 2 backup infielders, especially one that just plays one position. They might carry him as a right-handed DH, but again, he's not going to get that many at-bats as a right-handed DH.
Well, what he does add to the team when he's in a ball game, he's got speed. And you like to have guys on your team can score from first on a double, or easily score from second on a hard hit ball, hard hit single. He's that type of player.
Count 1-1 on Chris Stewart, and really the catching position is the battle in spring training. And Stewart serves notice that he'll get his hits every now and then, and I think a lot of people around baseball surprised that Russell Martin left as a free agent, signed a deal with the Pirates. And this is the competition. Chris Stewart, see what he did last year. Francisco Cervelli, who spent most of last year in the minors. He was sent down the last day of spring training when the Yankees got Chris Stewart in a trade from the Giants. And then Austin Romine.
Now, we all know Russell Martin didn't hit for a high average last year, but he did hit a career high 21 home runs, and that was part of the home runs that you said the Yankees going to be missing.
Stewart runs, and the pitch is sky to left field. Melky Cabrera is there to retire. Brett Gardner, no runs a hit, no errors, and one man left on base. We're going to the third. No score here on Yes. Our first spring training game of the year here on Yes, first of 19. There's no score. Yankees and the Blue Jays. New pitcher for the Yankees is Cody Epley, as Adam Warren gave the Yankees 2 scoreless innings. And we are joined in the booth here in the third inning by our colleague Jack Curry. And Jack has actually been here from the very beginning when pitchers and catchers reported. A lot of storylines with this team. We've been covering some of them, some of the new additions. But one of the storylines that we have to hit, and it really does hover around the Yankees, is the Alex Rodriguez situation.
Right, Michael, you go back to that first day when Joe Girardi gave his initial press conference. The dominant theme, or one of the themes of that press conference, a lot of questions about Alex Rodriguez. We know that he's coming back from the hip surgery and he is rehabbing. So some of the questions were about, do you still expect Alex Rodriguez to be back after the All-Star break? Girardi said yes. Brian Cashman reiterated that today. Then some other questions that Girardi had to answer were related to an article that was in the Miami New Times, which alleged that some players were given performance-enhancing drugs by an anti-aging clinic in Miami. Alex Rodriguez's name was on that list. Alex Rodriguez denied vehemently that he had any connection to this anti-aging clinic. I've asked both Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner about it, and they said, listen, MLB is investigating this. There's really nothing more we can say other than we're in alignment with what MLB is doing right now. So as you said, though, Michael, this hovers over them right now, but I will say this, since those first couple of days, everybody's moved forward. I know managers and coaches, and Kenny, you could vouch for this too. you're not here, you're not part of what is going on. So the Yankees moving forward, Euclid's their third baseman right now, and they'll see if Alex becomes a part of the 2013 team rehabbing from that hip.
Well, the Yankees are trying to put a team together while Alex is trying to put himself back together, rehabbing.
And he is rehabbing between Miami and New York. So Euclid came within a few feet in his first Yankee spring training at bat of a grand slam. Just missed that. So a lot of eyes will be on him for sure. And a lot of eyes are going to be on the left side of the infield, Jack. And we showed it right at the start. Derek Jeter is joking around, in a good mood, seems kind of spry, but he's not going to be on the field playing a baseball game for about 2 weeks.
Right. Brian Cashman said before today's game, look for him to get on the field, as you said, around 2 weeks. Jeter echoed that. He doesn't love the idea of not being out there, and we see Epley get the strikeout right there. But he said, listen, I always believed I was going to be a couple of weeks behind everybody. I think those 3 weeks give me enough time to get ready. We see Jeter with Euclid. Now we see Jeter in the cage. And, Michael, you said it correctly. Jeter's in a very good mood. He's not taping the ankle. He's not wearing any kind of protective guard or shield on the ankle. So that tells you that he believes that he has enough time. I asked him this morning, in your mind, how many at-bats do you need to have in spring training to feel like you're taking your swing into the regular season? He said, listen, I've never been one of those guys who put a number on it. I can't even give you a number, whether it's 50, 70, 90, 100. He just believes that 3 weeks will be enough for him to be ready for the season opener.
Count 0-1 on Zawadzki. And Epley deals low, 1-0. Now, we also opened up the broadcast today about the old switcheroo out in left field and center. I don't think it's set in stone, but if I had to bet, I'd say that this is the way it's going to stay. But they have left themselves some wiggle room if Granderson does not handle it well at the plate.
Right, Michael, that is the part of the equation. They know that Gardner can play center field. He's probably the best defensive, or one of the best defensive left fielders when he was on the field in 2011. They know he can slide over to center. It's a matter of, can Curtis Granderson handle left field? How is that transition going to go for him? And the other day when we were out here on the field, it was kind of a passing of the guard, so to speak, or a changing of the guard. You watched Granderson and Gardner finish BP, and Granderson trotted out to left field. Gardner trotted out to center field. They both did subsequent interviews about it, and I like this move for the Yankees. I think you put your best defensive, speediest outfielder in center. That is Gardner. Both your eyes and the defensive metrics tell you that Gardner is the better defensive outfielder. I think he belongs in center. Now it's a matter of, how does Granderson adapt to left?
I think we would have seen Gardner in center field last year. Granderson had to play an awful lot. There might have been some days where he would have gotten a day off. This is going to be from behind the bag. Epley gets over in time to make the play for out number 2. But Joe Girardi couldn't give Granderson a day off because Gardner was nowhere around.
And I asked Gardner today, so what kind of numbers are you looking for this year? And, of course, he gave me a joking answer. He said, I just want to get more plate appearances than I got last year, which of course is his translation. I want to stay on the field. So I said, okay, you stay on the field, you get 150 games. Then since he wasn't providing the numbers, I decided to provide the numbers. I said, can you go 290, 340 on base and steal 50 bases? And he said, yeah, I like those numbers. I think those are achievable. I think those are reachable. And I think the Yankees would sign up for that immediately. In pen and magic marker and the darkest thing possible, they would love to see those numbers from Gardner.
And I think you'll get those numbers if he does stay healthy.
Jack, if you're going to hit 290, you might as well say 300. You know, if you ask me, you got to set your goals high.
That's the hitter and you talking, and that's the reporter and me keeping it a little bit, maybe a little bit more realistic. But he could hit 300. We know that. I mean, with the speed that he shows, I mean, he's going to get the infield hits. The other day, Kenny, he was about to talk to reporters, and he said, can you guys wait? I just got to go work on my bunting. So he's doing that again this spring, trying to hone that skill that I think also will steal him a bunch of hits.
In that regard, I would say try and hit 310. So if you mess up and you only hit 305, you still hit 300. Set your goals high.
There's Brett in center field. Anthony goes to the plate, the 2-1. Grounded back.
You know, Michael, Cody Epley, I had a chance to talk to him, and I said, is there anything you go into the offseason or went into the offseason trying to work on? And he's a guy who, when he comes in, he's throwing fastballs, and he's trying to keep that ball down and get ground balls. He said, believe it or not, I want to throw my changeup a little more often. I went 2 weeks 3 weeks sometimes last year where he didn't throw a changeup, and he tried to perfect that a little in the offseason.
Gardner cannot catch up with that as Gose hits it over the head. Gose has a lot of speed. Round second, going to third. Here's the throw, and he is in there with a triple. Well, Gose can run, and they were waiting for him to do a lot of that last year, but he just had a hard time getting on base. He is one of the fastest players in baseball, and so is Brett Gardner, but that speed couldn't catch up with this fly ball.
Yeah, solid line drive, and one of the toughest plays for any outfielder is a line drive straight at you. A decent job with the relay here. Cano with the throw, and he's got one of the better arms for a second baseman in all of baseball, but Gose, well, he's on the move. He can really pick him up and lay him down. He's in with a 3-base hit.
Here's Bonifacio. Pitch outside.
Here's another player the Blue Jays have added who has tremendous speed. And very versatile. Can play the outfield, play third base.
That one's popped up right side. And that'll land over the Yankee dugout.
The first free agent signed this year by any team was Myceris Torres. The Blue Jays signed him away from the Angels, and he and Bonifacio are going to kind of semi-battle for the second base position, although both are very versatile. You can play them anywhere. So that gives John Gibbons multiple looks from two players.
Along with Ken Singleton and Jack Curry, I'm Michael Kay, watching Yankees baseball here on Yes, our first spring training telecast of the year. Line drive right up the middle. It is a base hit for Bonifacio, and scoring is Gose. And the Blue Jays are on the board. They lead 1-0.
Always look to see where the target is, and it was away, but the pitch came towards the middle of the plate. Eppley almost snagged this one. Not quite quick enough with the glove save. And the Blue Jays are on the board.
And here's Melky Cabrera. Bonifacio leads off of first, and Cabrera fouls it back. There'll be a lot of eyes on Cabrera this year after the PED suspension. You assume, okay, now he's learned his lesson. He's clean. How will he perform? He was having just an MVP type of season. Was the MVP of the All-Star game last year. So how does he perform this year? The Blue Jays think that he's worth a try. Sign him to that 2-year deal. Fly ball. Gardner will field it. The Blue Jays are on the board. 1 run on 2 hits. Jack Curry will stay with us. We hope that you will as well. 1-0 Jays.
And you know Mo's going to come back and play. That makes my decision a lot easier also, even though my decision is very personal to me myself. But, you know, it plays into who else is going to be around you, because you can't win without great players around you, and you can't win a championship without adding those guys that we did to try to help us do this.
That's Andy Pettitte, and Andy is one of the Yankees starting 5, and when he was healthy last year, he pitched very well. Went on the DL, and that set him back, and I think he wanted to get a full season when he decided to come back, and that kind of pushed him to coming back this year. So he signed a 1-year deal with the Yankees, and the Yankees are hoping for about 30 starts from Pettitte. Here's Ichiro. Now, Pettitte was a pretty happy guy. Yesterday, his son spun a no-hitter.
Wow.
His son Josh Michael, no-hitter, 10 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and the kid that he walked, he had him up 0-2. And Andy's dad was at the game, and the son had a double in the previous inning, and he thinks he got ahead of that batter, but then he thinks he got a little winded. But Andy said not only was he thrilled about the no-hitter, he said his son was just as thrilled that CeCe, Phil Hughes, and Jabba Chamberlain all tweeted about it. So they all gave a shout-out to Josh, and he was pretty pumped up about that.
You know, I talked to Andy the day before his son was going to pitch that night, and he was as nervous as you could be about his son's before. He said there's going to be a lot of scouts there watching it.
Fly ball, shallow right, and that's going to dunk in for a base hit in right center as Ichiro reaches. Now Josh is about Andy's size, a little shorter, and he's a right-hander. He throws 89 miles an hour. Andy said he'll get into the 90s. And when Andy, and you see Brett Cecil, the new Blue Jay pitcher, when Andy was that age, he said he was throwing to 84. He said, so I think that Josh is actually going to get bigger and throw harder. He said 10 major league teams are already spoken to them. He's a high school senior, so he can be drafted. But he also looks like he has some college choices as well.
He has picked Baylor. He's going to go play at Baylor if the draft system doesn't work out to his liking. Andy said that he was very excited once he visited Baylor. The school fit into everything that he wanted to have in a college. You mentioned the scouts, Kenny. Andy said 7 teams were supposed to be there at the game, but because of rain, the time got moved. So the Giants and the Royals ended up scouting him. But before Andy came to spring training, the Rays and the Twins are asking about the young Pettitte, and he's got a cutter, he's got a curveball. Michael said he touches 89 with his fastball. He already has the full ride to Baylor, so you know that people are taking a very close look at the younger Pettitte.
The 0-1.
Plus, they know he comes from good stock.
And you want to talk about how the game has changed? Andy followed the game on an app called Game Changer. Now, he couldn't see anything visually, but he knew that his son had a no-hitter going. He could see ball, strike, foul, fly ball to left field or whatever. So there's an app out there that does that, and there was a parent that videotaped it, and the parent is going to send that to Andy as well. So
it's just an example of how time flies. He was an infant when Andy burst upon the team in 1995, and here he is, either on the verge of becoming a pro or going to college. So congratulations to Josh Pettitte with his no-hitter yesterday.
Michael, do we want to balance out the Pettitte family scrapbook?
Do it, Jack.
Because Jared pitches for the sophomore team, and Andy was chuckling as he told me the story that he came in relief and got the loss for the sophomore team after his brother had pitched a no-hitter. He got out of a jam in the 7th inning, struck a kid out. The catcher thought that he had trapped the ball, and even though the umpire called the kid out, the catcher tried to make a throw to first base, which he didn't have to make. It went into right field, and the runner who was on third scored.
Wow. Now that son, Jared, is left-handed.
Yes, but considers himself more of a hitter.
Right, likes to hit. Plays in the outfield. Cecil sets, and the 1-2. Low. Now there's some age in the Yankee rotation. It can go one of two ways. If Andy Pettitte and the guy he calls hero, Hiroki Kuroda, give them 30 starts apiece, the Yankees are in great shape. And another thing that the Yankees have to monitor, there doesn't seem to be great concern. CeCe Sabathia had surgery during the offseason. They need him to be the guy who gives them over 200 innings and 34 starts.
There's no doubt about that, Michael. And before he had ever thrown coming into spring training, he said just from tossing a ball, just throwing in the outfield, he felt better already. He could tell that the pain he was feeling when he extended his elbow was no longer there. So CeCe might be a little bit behind the other starters, and we see that projected rotation with Nova and Phelps likely to fight for that 5th spot. CeCe believes that he's going to be good to go. He still refuses to blame any of what might have been a season that was a little subpar for him on the elbow, even though, Kenny, he talks about when he was finishing, he was feeling pain in the elbow. So how a guy can't say, well, yeah, the injury had something to do with it. He refuses to blame that at all.
It's a mental game with pitchers, too. Imagine when they're coming back from a surgery, any type of surgery on your arm. This is how you make your living. And the feel for throwing a baseball, and all of a sudden you have discomfort, that can lead to you changing your windup or changing the way you actually throw the ball, can lead to other problems.
Ichiro was going, and Cano fouled the ball off, so now it's 2-2 again. Let's see if Ichiro goes again. This time he does not. The pitch is low. Count 3-2. Now he will probably go on 3-2.
He had a great jump. Cano fouled that pitch off.
We also saw when we put up the projected rotation, Phil Hughes, and Phil Hughes I talked to today, his back feels really so much better, and he's getting into the pool, doing some exercise in the pool. But that's a scary situation when you have a bulging disc in your upper back and you're a pitcher. He suffered it, they say, during pitching fielding practice, covering first base.
Right, Brian Cashman addressed that today too, Michael. He said the first phase of the rehab, or the first phase of recuperating for Hughes, was rest. Then it was get into the pool and get on a treadmill and try and get back by about a 2-week period.
Fly ball left field. Melky Cabrera giving chase. He's there. He'll make the play on the warning track. Ichiro was all the way around second. He'll retrace and head back to first.
Twice Cano has hit the ball well to the opposite field, and Michael mentioned earlier in the game that Cano's home run against the Braves yesterday when the Yankees were on the road went to left field.
Now the 3-4 hitters in the Yankee lineup, Cano and the guy up at the plate, Mark Teixeira, both are going to leave soon to play in the WBC. And Teixeira obviously is going to play for the United States. And his manager there will be Joe Torre, and one of the coaches, also with the Yankee lineage, Willie Randolph.
And Cano going to play for the Dominican Republic, Michael, and his father, Jose Cano, is the bullpen coach for the Dominican team. And as you'll notice, the Yankee lineups in the first 8 games or so, Joe Girardi said because they're going to the WBC, he wants to accelerate them a little bit. A lot of the times he'll play a veteran and give him the next day off. Cano is scheduled to play 6 of the first 8 games. Teixeira is scheduled to play 5 of the first 8 games. And there are a couple of other Yankee minor leaguers who are also playing in the WBC. Juan Cedeno and Melky Mesa are going to play for the Dominican. Gil Velasquez and Walter Ibarra are going to play for Mexico, and the pitcher Pat Venditti is going to play for Italy. Obviously, Teixeira and Cano are the marquee guys the Yankees will miss while the WBC is going on.
When you look at the rosters of those 2 teams, Dominican and American teams, they're comprised mostly of Major League Baseball players. But as we know, the Japanese are the 2-time defending champions. And they've had some pitchers, in particular Yu Darvish, who's come off the WBC team and eventually signed big league contracts. And big ones, too.
The Yankees are going to be playing the Dominican Republic on March 6th as we look at the Mazda upcoming schedule. Some games coming up on Yes this week. You've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday all on Yes. So, as we mentioned, 19 spring training games broadcast right here on Yes. Now, there are a couple of Yankee players that flirted with the idea of playing in the WBC, Andy Pettitte being one of them. The Yankees, I don't think, were thrilled with this because he was hurt last year. And then there's Francisco Cervelli, who I thought made a very wise choice not playing because he's trying to get the catching starting job here with the Yankees, and why be out of camp for however many weeks?
I agree with you, Michael. Wise decision by Cervelli. He is a guy who could win the catching job. Cashman was asked about that before the game, and he said, listen, we have 2 guys who don't have options, Cervelli and Stewart. We have 1 kid who has an option, Romine. So someone said, how do you balance the race? He said, right now I'm going with the 2 guys who don't have options because he wants to have all of those guys on his roster.
Teixeira swings and misses, so he's down on strikes.
Pettitte said he'd never represented the U.S. before, so it was something that he definitely took seriously and gave strong consideration to. But then in the end, he said this was the place he needed to be. He needed to be in Yankee camp. He needed to be doing whatever he could to get himself best prepared for the Yankee season.
Mostelier took over for Granderson, who got hit by a pitch in the first inning. We have not gotten any word at this point on Granderson's condition. That's what Mostelier did in the minor leagues last year in AA and AAA. Good numbers.
As I mentioned earlier, talking to Stick Michael, who knows baseball players when he sees them. He said this Ranier really doesn't have much of position, but he can really, really hit the ball. Hits the ball hard.
This is how Granderson got hurt in the first inning. Jay Happ on the mound. I went to first and then was taken out of the game. And you hold your breath on that one because we said with the offseason maneuvering, the Yankees lost 100 home runs off their total from last year. You don't want 43 on the shelf. There's a line drive base hit to right field.
Stick Michael knows what he's talking about, doesn't he? A rocket into right field off the bat of Mostillier. We mentioned affected from Cuba. Hit 353 at Double-A. Wham! Had sound to it, didn't it? 353 at Double-A. Trent then went to Scranton Wilkes-Barre, played 89 games there and hit 303.
Kenny, I know batting practice is just batting practice, but I had my back to the cage the other day, and I heard a sound similar to what we just heard and turned around and said, wow, who is in the cage right now? It wasn't Cano, it wasn't Teixeira, it wasn't Granderson. It was that guy right there. So as you said, the ball just pops off his bat.
First and second, 2 men out. Yankees down 1-0, bottom of the third. Here's Youkilis. Now, Jack actually met up with Youkilis in California during the offseason, and Yankee Access is going to be on after this game. A full half hour with Kevin Youkilis, and you liked Youkilis. You thought a lot of him when you met him.
I had already had a little bit of a relationship with him, Michael, because you know when you cover the Yankees and the Red Sox, you see the players so often. But struck me as a very smart, very affable, very driven guy. Within the first few minutes of the interview, he talked about how he still had a chip on his shoulder because people never expected him to get this far. And I tell you what, the fact that he goes over his stance the way that he did like this for us, any Yankee fan who wants to hear how Kevin Youkilis is changing and tweaking his stance a little bit, tune in to Yankee Access later because he gives a great breakdown of the changes that he made.
Line drive right at Laurie, and that will do it. Jack, thanks a lot. We will hear from Meredith Marakovitz a little bit later on. So Youkilis comes a few feet away from a grand slam, and that one an RBI single. So it's 1-0 Blue Jays. Afternoon. New pitcher for the Yankees. Their third pitcher, Adam Warren. A scoreless 2. Cody Epley gave up a run in the second. Now, kid from Queens, Matt Daly, will take over on the mound for the Yankees.
2011 with the Rockies organization. Missed last year with shoulder problems. 7 games in the big leagues. pitching at altitude for the Colorado Rockies. Now he gets his chance here with the Yankees organization.
And he will face Brett Laurie, who is the DH today.
He's out of Bucknell University. The Yankees signed him as a minor league free agent.
Blue Jays really expect stardom from Laurie. And they feel that because they got all these stars during the offseason, that now he could kind of blend into the wallpaper and not have all the pressure on him. Probably be expected to give them less offensively. There he gives them an extra base hit as it gets past Youkilis. Now, one thing they hope with Laurie as he picks up a double is that he could stay healthy, but he plays the game in a manic way. Look at what happened last year at Yankee Stadium.
That's off the bat of Mark Teixeira. Laurie coming over, trying to make the play, blocks. He hits his glove, and then he falls into the camera well. And smashed his ankle right there, had to leave the ball game. And you can see he was in immediate pain. And he missed some time due to that play and the hustle.
Well, he's always hustling. He's always diving. He's running into things. And that one is fly to center field. Catch is made by Gardner for the first out, and it was brought to his attention. You think maybe, and this is from the media, not from the Blue Jays, you could change the way you play so you don't put yourself in harm's way. And he looked at them and he said, I got to the big leagues playing like this. If all of a sudden I change, then I'm not going to be the same player that got to the big leagues. So he does not expect to play the game in a different manner.
He's already a very popular player. He's a native of Canada from British Columbia. And since Toronto is the lone team in Canada, a national ball club as opposed to the city. In fact, Toronto itself has the biggest metropolitan area of any major league team that has only one team in town. So they will certainly can be well supported. The Blue Jay fans they like this team thus far this year. I know we haven't started the regular season, but they've got baseball in their mind coming into the 2013 season.
Henry Blanco fouls it back. Now, John Gibbons is actually the second two-time manager of the Blue Jays, because the other one is Cito Gaston, who actually won the 2 championships that the Blue Jays have won. And incredibly enough, the last World Series the Blue Jays won was the last time that the Blue Jays were in the playoffs, in 1993.
20 years ago. 20 years.
Breaking ball, strike 3, as Blanco is frozen. 2 away.
Nice quick tilt on this slider. Actually, wasn't the best pitch, kind of high in the middle of the plate, but obviously Blanco was looking for something else.
Get some word on Curtis Granderson's injury. The Yankees are saying it's a bruised right forearm, and he has been sent for precautionary x-rays.
Yankees, of course, are hoping it's just a bruise.
Ryan Langerhans takes inside.
And hopefully it won't keep him on the shelf too long. He'll be able to get back into action maybe in a day or so.
Count 2-0. Laurie led off with a double. He leads off second now with 2 outs. The 2-0. 2-1.
It looked like a changeup, 84 miles per hour. Good time to throw one with a left-handed hitter up and a base open. 2-0 count. Hitter's looking for fastball. Give Chris Stewart a little credit for calling that pitch.
Another breaking ball strike.
Well, you watch Daly. He has experience in the big leagues. 57 games in 2009 with the Rockies. And 28 games the next year in 2010.
Comes with the fastball then. Misses inside 3-2. If your off-speed pitches are good, and his seem to be, you can get away at 87 miles an hour with a heater. It's all about location and change of speed.
A little deception in his motion as well. A herky-jerky delivery to the plate. Hard for the hitters to follow the baseball out of the hand.
Only run in the game scored in the third inning. A 2-out triple by Anthony Goes. And then Emilio Bonifacio's single to center field. That came off Cody Appley. It's 1-0 Jays. We're in the top of the fourth now. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. So a good inning from Matt Daly. No runs a hit, no errors, one man left. Big crowd here at Steinbrenner Field looking for a Yankee run as they trail 1-0. An instructor, got here a couple of days ago, feeling very comfortable, looking great as well. And one of the other core four members, Mariano Rivera, I know that Meredith Marakovitz has been looking all over the ballpark for him. And I believe that she's now in the picnic area here at Steinbrenner Field. Have you found them out there, Meredith? You're far away from us.
You know what, Michael? Amazing he's not hanging out here in the picnic area, but it is a pretty cool area out here. He's not going to appear in this afternoon's game, but the good news is that he is inching his way back. On Friday, he threw 20 pitches in a live batting practice session, and that was the first time in nearly a year that he threw live BP. And all things considered, Mariano said he felt pretty good. Perhaps the most important thing was the fact that he felt good physically. And Mariano Rivera, joking a little bit afterwards, said as far as the performance is concerned, his command was there. Joking with the media contingent, that command, that never takes a vacation. As far as the progress, he thinks that is a good step in the right direction. However, he won't really know where he is until he gets into a live game. And right now, the Yankees just content to take things slow with Mariano Rivera. So he'll throw again tomorrow, probably throw a few more BP sessions before getting into a game. But don't be concerned that he's not throwing on a mound in a real game yet. He's a guy that typically comes into spring training, doesn't throw until the second half of it. Typically takes about 6 to 8 innings for him to get ready for the regular season. So everything considered, Mariano Rivera still on track.
And the Yankees need him to be on track.
Sure.
Because Rafael Soriano, who filled in so ably for Mariano after the injury last year, he signed with the Nationals as a free agent. And right now the fallback, if Mariano doesn't pitch well, is David Robertson or maybe Jabba Chamberlain. And David Artema is also in camp. But if you talk to people around the Yankees, Meredith, you just get the feeling that Mariano not doing well, if he's healthy, it doesn't even seem to be an option despite the fact that he's 43 years old.
really a non-issue. Right now, everyone expects that he's going to come back and be that same Mariano Rivera, the guy that's closed 608 games, 608 career saves. So they're really not concerned with him. They think that he's looked good so far. Brian Cashman and the rest of the Yankees front office all watched him during his last session, and all things seem to be pointing in the right direction, that he'll be ready for opening day, and he's going to be a key contributor to this Yankees team. And, you know, you ask some of the other players, and nobody doubts Mariano Rivera. They all expect that he's going to come back and be that same player.
3-2 count on Travis Hafner. Brett Cecil deals. And that one is skied to left field, giving chase Melky Cabrera. He's not going to get there. It'll split the outfielders and roll right in front of the warning track as Hafner picks up a double to start off the fourth inning.
Now, Meredith, the other day we actually watched Mariano throw to the minor league hitters, and I thought he had his sense of humor working when he called the first two pitches that the minor league hitter took. He called them both strikes. He said, "Hey, that's a strike." And he called the next one a strike as well.
Kenny, it's funny. He was laughing and he was yelling at the minor leaguers, who you have to believe were maybe a little intimidated to begin with. You're stepping into that batter's box, and Mariano Rivera is on the mound there. So he was having a lot of fun, and he was having some fun with the media. It really just seems like he's enjoying being back. He's really kind of savoring every moment here and getting back in shape, and is just anxious to get back on the mound. But with that being said, they are not going to rush things with him, and he's saying himself he doesn't want to rush things. He's going to take it slow. Plenty of time left here in spring training.
Well, Nunez does his job, grounds to second, moves Hafner to third. Now, before we let Meredith go, Kenny, the Yes Network treats us very, very well. I mean, you know that.
Oh, the best.
So, I mean,
I know where this is going.
We come down to spring training, you and I get on a plane. Meredith decided to drive. So she's now our John Madden, right, Meredith? You drove from the Northeast down here to Florida.
Look, Michael, I don't really like to fly, so if given the opportunity, I like to drive places. I had a lot of time, so I drove down. It was a very leisurely drive. I enjoyed myself, and I'm here in one piece.
Well, all I can say is that if you don't like to fly, and there's her car, if you don't like to fly, you've made a very, very wise choice career-wise, let me tell you.
Though, I really should have thought this one through.
How many hours did it take you to drive down here?
It took about 17. But
that's great.
I stopped 3 times, though.
It took me 2.5 hours to fly here. With the infield in, Chris Stewart pops it up. And there's some confusion there as Bonifacio will make the catch. We'll hear from Meredith a little bit later on. We're glad that you're here in one piece, Meredith.
As am I. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, take it easy. So 2 down as they leave Hafner at third with the infield in. Now the infield will back up, and Gardner has a chance to pick up a run.
So Brett Cecil pick up a big out there with a runner at third and 1 out. Cecil, it's no mistake. There's a reason why he's pitching following Hap today. They're both battling for the job as a left-hander in the Toronto bullpen. So John Gibbons, the manager, wants to see them back-to-back in the same game. And Hap pitched pretty well. And Cecil did a good job there getting the out with a runner at third and 1 out.
Pitch to Brett Gardner is a strike. Yankees trailing 1-0 to the Blue Jays. Count 0-2.
You talk about Gardner last year, appeared in only 16 regular season games. And I think one thing that the Yankees missed, his ability to run deep counts, although he's down 0-2 right now. Fouls off a lot of pitches.
Swing and a miss as Gardner goes down on strike. So Cecil gives up a leadoff double to Hafner and gets out of a jam without allowing a run. We've got 4 in the books, 1-0 Blue Jays. On the Audi scoreboard, it's 1-0 Blue Jays here at an overcast Steinbrenner Field. Our first spring training telecast. And during spring training telecast, one of the perks of that job is we get a chance to mic up the manager, Joe Girardi. Not just for the Joe Girardi show, but for an inning of work. How you doing, Joe?
Good, Michael. How are you? Who's up there with you, Kenny?
Oh, yeah, it's me.
Hi, Kenny.
How you doing, Joe?
Are you guys a little rusty?
No, I think we came out swinging.
Did you? All right.
A little concern with Granderson. What are you hearing?
Yeah, well, we sent him for an X-ray, and then I would think we'd know. We'll know by the end of the game. But there's some concern there. I mean, anytime you get hit he got hit kind of in the forearm closer to his hand, so there's some concern because it's bone.
Rondon, Francisco Rondon, the left-hander, deals to LaRoche, who fouls it off. Tell me some of your concerns in this spring, Joe. You have a large contingent of players, 83 guys. I think that's the most you've ever had roster-wise in spring training. So how difficult is that to manage for you?
Well, I think Rob Thompson and Larry Rothschild have done a tremendous job in managing that and making sure that everyone's getting their work in. We've had to schedule a lot of early work to get it all done and make sure that these pitchers are ready to throw. But you look up, we got a split squad game February 28th, and that's pretty taxing. When your starter's only going 2 innings. So, I mean, feasibly you could use about, 16, 17 pitchers on that day, so we need them.
1-1 is fouled away.
Joe, how many split squad games do you have lined up so you can get everybody to work?
Well, I think we have 2 total. I think we have one about the middle of March as well, and that one will be a little bit easier because your starters, at that point could be going 4 and 5 innings, and that makes it a little easier on how many guys you need to use.
That one's bounced up there. We were talking about Mariano Rivera with Meredith Marakovitz, and one of the jokes is that he never gets issued a gray uniform because he doesn't go on the road in spring training. So that being said, will you have enough time to get him his 7 or 8 innings that he needs?
Oh, we'll have plenty of time. He gets a gray uniform. He just never wears it. I mean, we put the pants in there just for fun, just to get on him a little bit. But he's not going to make any road trips. But you know what? He will make that. He will put his gray pants on when we play the Washington Nationals and when we play Army at the end of the year.
At West Point.
Yeah, so there will be gray pants on. Just won't be in Florida.
Now, you saw him pitch BP, Joe. Obviously missed 5 months last year. Does he look like he missed a beat? Looks like the knee is fine. How about the arm?
No, he looked great. I mean, there were some guys behind the cage kind of saying, in amazement, it's amazing how consistent he is. And you watch how he just repeats his mechanics time and time again. It's like, for him it was like riding a bike. And he actually joked with Rob Seguin. When he threw BP, he said, well, you better swing. He threw 2 pitches and they were both strikes. He said, I'm going to throw strikes. So Seguin started swinging.
And Zawadzki swings there as he lines one to right field for a base hit. What's your biggest concern in spring training, Joe?
Well, I think you always worry about the concern of your rotation. Right now Hughesy's down for a little bit, and he is definitely improving, but you worry about that first and foremost. The big decisions that we have to make is, the 4th outfielder. Who's that right-handed hitting outfielder? We got some competition in the bullpen and for the 5th starter, but health is always just my biggest concern because, we're blessed with a talented club, but you got to keep them healthy.
1 man on, 1 man out. Goes at the plate, and there's a strike. Joe, you have a catching competition.
Yes.
Last couple of years, you've been relaxed. You knew it was going to be Russell Martin. How's this going to play out? What are you looking for?
Well, defense is our top priority. Handle the pitching staff and how they relate with our pitchers that are going to go north with us. And we're not exactly sure who those 12 are going to be, but, I mean, who does the best job at handling that staff? And that offense is going to be a plus for us because I believe that these guys can save a lot of runs for us, so that's really important to me.
Good play right there by Chris Stewart on the pitch in the dirt to hold the runner to first base and keep the double play in order.
Yeah, he does a really good job with balls in the dirt, and he's going to throw well, and he's going to call a good game, and he's going to do the things that you expect him to do. So he has the ability to drive in some runs, for us, but he's not going to hit the home runs that Russell did. As an offensive player, if you're Chris Stewart, you got to be able to handle the bat and do some things.
Now, Joe, you mentioned the home runs, and when you look at the way this Yankee team is put together, 100 home runs from last year are no longer there. Do you have to play a different sort of game now to create runs?
Well, we're a faster club this year, and I think that will help. you know, in losing the home runs, we added speed, and hopefully it helps on the defensive side, and it helps in a sense on the offensive side where, you know, we're better at going first to third. We're better at scoring from second on singles. You know, there's more doubles, there's more stolen bases. So our offense is going to be a little bit different, but I still think we're going to score a lot of runs.
Was speed one of the reasons why you've moved Gardner into center field?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons. And really, Kenny, I can't tell you exactly how it's going to play out. I just, you know, we're going to toy with it to see if the two of them cover more ground with Guardian center or with Curtis in center. We're going to see, you know, which outfield we think is the best, and we got plenty of time to do it.
Sometimes position changes, Joe, affect the batter at the plate. Is that something that you're going to be looking at with Granderson?
Yes, it is. I mean, that was a concern of mine, and that's why, you know, I waited a while, you know, to make the decision, because I wanted to have a lot of input from people. I wanted to talk to my coaches a lot. I wanted to talk to Curtis, and, you know, face to face. It's one thing to do it over the phone, but you want to see people face to face. And, you know, with his personality, I think he'll be okay if that's what we end up doing.
Rondon sets, the runner goes, and that one is chopped up the middle. Fielded there by Nunez for the second out as Zawatsky moves to second. Well, since we just saw Nunez, Joe, what are your plans for him? I mean, do you look at him as the right-handed DH? Does he have a chance to stick on the team as a second infielder?
Oh, I think so. I mean, we look at him as the backup shortstop first and foremost. I mean, we want to try to keep him there as much as we can because we think that he'll play better. And, you know, if he makes our club, those are days that I can DH Jeet against a left-hander. I could put him at short and give Jeet a little blow here and there, and, you know, just see how it plays out. He's an exciting young player. I mean, we know that there's talent there, and we know there's things that he has to work on. But, I mean, we've seen what he's capable of doing. I mean, you can look at the bat that he had off of Verlander last year in the playoffs. I mean, this is what this kid is capable of doing. So for him, it's consistency. It's probably a little bit more consistent playing time. I think it's important to give him. And if we are able to do those things, hopefully we see an improvement.
I think you're going to get a chance to see a lot of him because Derek Jeter isn't scheduled to play for a couple of weeks here.
Right. I mean, he's going to play a lot. You know, and the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to hurt him. So I don't think he's going to play for us tomorrow. And I'll play him 2 days on, give him a day off, and get him built up. But he's going to play a lot early in spring training, that's for sure.
2-0 count on Bonifacio, who has driven in the only run in this game, and that was in the third inning. Now he has another RBI opportunity. The 2-0. Grounded foul outside of third. Now, a guy who's not here as one of the spring training coaches, I know you miss him, is Yogi Berra.
Yes, we really miss him.
And I'm sure he's watching at home. And Yogi actually was quoted in a newspaper story, said they've got to get Nunez 500 at-bats. And I'm trying to do the math, Joe. I don't know how you could get him 500 at-bats unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible, but I think Yogi recognizes the excitement that this kid can bring to a lineup and some of the things that he can do and some of his tools. And, you know, we really miss seeing Yogi and Carmen down here. I mean, we're thinking about him, and, you know, all of us can't wait to get back and see him when the season starts. So, Yogs and Carmen, we love you and we miss you, and we'll see you soon.
Top of the fifth inning, 2-2 count, 2 outs, 1-0 Blue Jays. And Francisco Rondon is on the mound. The 2-2. Grounded to second. Cano is right there, and that will do it. Joe, always a pleasure. We'll be talking to you throughout spring training.
And I love when you guys put up shutout innings.
Take it easy, Joe. No runs ahead. 1 man left at the end of 4.5 innings of play. We're halfway through. It's 1-0 Blue Jays. scoreboard, it is 1-0 Toronto. Nice crowd on hand here in Tampa. As we said, the weather not your perfect spring training weather. Yesterday was just gorgeous. Yankees played on a sun-splashed field at Disney against the Braves. Won that game 8-3. This is the first home spring training game for the Yanks. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is Justin Germano, and he deals low to Ichiro. Grounded right side. One away. So one down, and that will bring up Cano. Those are the numbers on Germano last year with the Red Sox and the White Sox. Bit of a bloated ERA, 86 hits in 69 2/3 innings. And the pitch to Cano is a strike. He has tried left field out twice, once shallow, once deep. But Melky Cabrera snared them both. One of the stories in spring training, this is the final year of Robinson Cano's contract. And when Hal Steinbrenner, Yankee general partner, met the media, he said that the Yankees are investigating signing Cano early before he becomes a free agent. The Yankee organization, led by Hal Steinbrenner and Randy Levine and Brian Cashman, have made contact with Scott Boras, who is Cano's agent, and they'd like to work things out before he hits the free agent market.
Well, certainly one of the most talented players in Major League Baseball, and with that comes a cost.
Now, a lot of players, I've never understood this, but it almost seems to be universal. They don't want to negotiate during the season because they say it's a distraction, although you do have an agent to do your negotiating, and that'll be it for Cano after that single, as the Yankees will go to Jason Nix to pinch run. But I spoke with Scott Boras, and he said, well, I'll keep Robinson apprised of what's going on, but we will talk if the Yankees want to do that. He said he was thrilled that the Yankees reached out. The Yankees have historically not extended contracts when there's still time on it. But Cano is a special case and a special player, so they're looking into it. Don't know the likelihood of whether or not it will get done, but the Yankees, by doing that, certainly serve notice that they want to bring Robinson back. Teixeira 1 for 2 today, singled in the first and struck out in the third.
You know, realistically, when you look at what Cano's done so far as a Yankee, it's quite obvious he could go down as the best second baseman in Yankee history if he stays with the club and fills out. It has a Derek Jeter type of career where he remains with the team, one team throughout his career.
And those type of players are few and far between now, and he's got to decide what it means for him to be a lifelong Yankee, and would he take more to go somewhere else? So it'll be interesting, but the Yankees are certainly doing their part, and it was articulated by Hal Steinbrenner that they do want him, and they want him for a long-term deal. Swing and a miss, off-speed pitch as Teixeira way out in front, 2 away.
Germano really sold his pitch, almost jumping towards home plate. A lot of deception as he pulls the string on Mark Teixeira. Watch the body get out in front, hold back, all-speed curveball, and the swing and a miss for strike 3.
So 2 down. And that'll bring up Mostelier. He took over in the first inning, actually pinch ran for Granderson after Granderson got hit with that pitch. Granderson has been taken for precautionary x-rays, but Joe Girardi, we just spoke, he said, of course, there's some concern. He said, you get hit like that flush, and there is concern. One thing that every manager wants, they want to get through spring training healthy. And you get these little bruises and sometimes even more serious injuries. And the thing they hate is when somebody right at the end of spring training gets hurt, because you can see the finish line and the starting line for the season, and then somebody goes down with a game left.
Sometimes that player's replacement has already been sent to the minor league.
Yeah.
Somebody has to get immediately recalled.
Swing and a miss. So Germano gives up a single to Cano, but otherwise nothing else. No runs to hit. One man left. 5 in the books here in Tampa. 1-0 Blue Jays. Back here at Steinbrenner Field, top of Back here at Steinbrenner Field, the first pitch to Melky Cabrera was up and in. The second pitch is fouled away. And the count quickly 0-2 as the Blue Jays lead this one 1-0. Francisco Rondon in for his second inning of work. Pitched the scoreless fifth. Count 2-1. Melky with a fly ball to right field. And the catch is made.
Yeah, several changes defensively for the Yankees as we move along here in this ball game. This is about the time of game when things get really interesting.
And that's Thomas Neal out right. You see the changes? You've got Culver, a former first-round draft pick for the Yankees. He can really pick it. You're going to want to watch him. And then Nix is at second. Mostelier, Garcia, and Neal, and Wilson is behind the plate. And there's going to be a pitching change. As Rondon did a nice job, Larry Rothschild will go to the bullpen. We'll step aside for just a moment. We're so glad you're here with us on a Sunday afternoon. Our first spring training telecast of the year, 1-0 Blue Jays. And a line drive off the bat of Laurie for the second out.
New pitcher in the ball game for the Yankees is Preston Claiborne. And the new first baseman is Marusic.
6-2 last year, splitting time between AA and AAA. So 2 down. And that brings up Jimenez. Pitch outside. 1-0. Ground ball up the middle and a base hit. Yankee fans, if you want to guarantee you'll have a seat on opening day, get the new 12-game opening day ticket plan. You get 12 great games, including opening day. Plans are available in a variety of locations, so purchase your opening day 12-game ticket plan today by calling 212-YANKEES or visiting Yankees.com. Here's Henry Blanco. 94-mile-an-hour fastball swung on and missed.
You saw the changes the Yankees have made defensively. Bobby Wilson behind the plate, former big leaguer with the Angels.
One, 2-1. One on, 2 outs. We're in the top of the 6th inning. It's 1-0 Blue Jays. 95. Second game of spring training. That opens up some eyes for Preston Claiborne. The 2-2. High fly ball. Mustelier makes the play, and that will do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We're going to the bottom of the 6th. 1-0 Jays. Good pitching today. Adam Warren started it moments ago. Meredith Morakovitz caught up with Adam.
Adam Adam, I imagine when you get to this point in spring training, you're anxious to get back out on the mound and face some live hitters. So how would you evaluate your first spring performance?
I was good. I was pleased with it. Just trying to get out there and get into the rhythm of the game, and the game's a little faster than the sim games we've been doing. So just to be able to get in a rhythm and throw some strikes was good for me.
How important was it for you to start off on a good note, to start off the spring on a good day?
It's really important, just for confidence reasons. Like I said, you haven't been in a game, so it's nice to go out there and kind of cruise through 2 innings, just for confidence reasons.
You spent the majority of the season in AAA last year, went 7-8. Also made a start here with the Yankees. Was there anything that you felt like you needed to work on differently from last season to this season? What did you work on this offseason?
Just being more consistent. Staying down in the zone and being able to make that quick adjustment when needed. And I think that's going to help me this year.
Adam, thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
Send it back to you.
Thank you, Meredith. So 2 innings of scoreless ball. One batter got on, and that was Brett Laurie, who he hit with a pitch. He struck out 2. 1-0 Blue Jays. Germano's still in there. You saw Youkilis hit a long fly ball, so he's hit the ball hard three times. Nothing to show for it. With the bases loaded, fly ball to the wall and right. Then in the 3rd inning, runner at second, 2 outs, a screaming line drive. A first and second, 2 outs, screaming line drive to 3rd, and leading off the 6th here, a long fly ball to center. Here's Gary Sanchez. You've heard a lot about him. He's one of the big-time prospects the Yankees have. He's a catcher. Right now, his hitting is ahead of his defense. But they like this guy a lot. He's one of their touted prospects. Last year at A-ball. So he's a couple of years away.
Trying to think of the number of at-bats they like to get minor league prospects before they even think about them coming up to the big league level.
Ground ball is short. 2 outs.
Fans, Wednesday afternoon, the Yankees continue their 2013 spring campaign when they host the Orioles here at Steinbrenner Field. Complete coverage on Yes starts at 1 when John Flaherty and I are here in the booth for all of the action. That's only on Yes. So Wednesday at 1.
Youkilis talking with the Yankee manager.
He's probably saying, keep hitting the ball like that. They can't catch them all.
Cito Culver flies one to left field, and a 1-2-3 inning for Germano as school is in session. This is how we do it in the Bronx, Devin. It's a little bit different than Boston. Just a little. 1-0 as we go to the 7th. Ryan Langerhans is in there. And he takes outside from Claiborne. Langerhans so far today is 0 for 2, fly ball to left and a strikeout. And on the Ford scoreboard, the Tri-State Ford scoreboard, it's 1-0 Blue Jays. There's base hit to right field. 1 on, nobody out. Yankee fans, individual game tickets for the 2013 season at Yankee Stadium go on sale as part of a pre-on sale exclusively from MasterCard cardholders starting on Wednesday, February 27th at 10 a.m. through Sunday, March 3rd at 10 p.m. Now, to use your MasterCard to purchase tickets beginning on February 27th, visit Yankees.com/priceless or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Pitch inside.
This is Andy LaRoche, who's gone all the way so far for the Blue Jays, and non-roster playing, trying to open some eyes, maybe hook on as somebody the Blue Jays can rely on in the future in their organization. His brother, Adam, had a great year last year with the Washington Nationals, who won had the most wins in baseball, the Nationals did. And his brother re-signed with the Nationals. It was a free agent. They signed him to a big-time contract to continue to play first base.
Count 3-0. Want to send out birthday wishes to a colleague of ours, Donna Jean Dixon. Happy birthday, Donna. She's come down to Tampa, get some of the nice warm weather. But we're thinking of you on your birthday. Happy birthday.
From all of us at Yes.
Kenny, I don't think you ever really had to go through this.
Birthdays, yeah.
No, you've gone through probably more than you want.
Yeah, exactly.
But you were always a very high prospect. And after you had made the major leagues, you came to camp to get in shape.
Yeah.
It must be difficult to be that guy because human nature would tell you, you're doing the math in your head. Well, I don't fit here. I don't fit here. And we keep telling you, well, there are always scouts in the stands.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some kind of mindset to drive a player. You know, I've got to do well, even though I have no chance to make this team.
Yeah, I think you have to remind yourself that there are 29 other teams. Mm-hmm. And somebody might be there on the right day, a scout from one team that needs somebody at your position, whether it's either at the big league level.
Runner goes. Throw to second. They get him. Bobby Wilson gunned him down. And LaRoche down on strikes.
Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Bobby Wilson, when he was with the Angels, is primarily known as a good defensive catcher. And here he shows you reason why. Langerhans taking a look. He knows he's going to have to speed it up a bit. Tried to knock the ball out of Jason Nix's gloves. That didn't work either. So it's a strike him out, high fastball, swing through. Nice pick by Jason Nix on the short hop. There's the tag, and 2 for the price of 1.
Nix did such a good job for the Yankees last year and really opened some eyes. And unless something goes completely haywire, he's definitely going to be on this team as the backup infielder. He can play some outfield as well. Very valuable guy to have on a team. Had a live bat last year as well.
Hit over 300 in the Bronx last year.
Mm-hmm. Ripped into center field. Long run for Garcia. He cannot get it. It goes to the wall. As Zawadzki will pick up a double.
Okay, Zawadzki yesterday against the Tigers pinch hit a grand slam home run, and today he's got a single and a double, and he was also robbed of a hit. Man, this ball is smoked. Line drive to center field, great extension on the swing. Garcia, well, his number's getting smaller out there in center field as he runs this one down, even though it's a large number 91.
Here's Anthony Goes with a runner on second and 2 outs. On 1.
Yeah, you're right about the fact that well, you come to spring training, and you're right. You do the math. You know that there's going to be for you to make the team, circumstances going to have to break just right, almost on a daily basis. And even then, maybe the team doesn't have that kind of confidence in you. They go out and make a trade.
And it could happen at the last moment. I mean, the story from last year is a perfect example. Francisco Cervelli in his head was packed. His stuff was on the truck heading back north. The Yankees made the trade for Chris Stewart. He was called into the office, and thinking he's going back with the team, he's sitting in front of his locker and 20 minutes later crying because he was shocked by the trade. So you just never know. If you think you have it made, you might not. And if you think you have no chance, you might open a couple of eyes and boom, you're on the team.
You're right, though. It's a good feeling coming to spring training knowing you're just getting yourself ready to begin the season. Sometimes I used to look at the young outfielders and say, it's not this year, kid.
The 1-2. Strike 3. Goes down looking. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. The end of 6.5. Get up and stretch. 1-0 Jays. The 7th, but sometimes the score of a spring training game means very little, and the story of this game took place in the first inning. Claudio Vargas, a new pitcher for the Blue Jays, deals low, and the first inning, J. Happ hits Curtis Granderson on the right forearm. We just find out from the New York Yankees that Curtis has suffered a fractured right forearm, and he is out for 10 weeks. So before he will play in a major league game, it will be sometime in the middle of May. And we just talked about jobs being open or not being open, and somebody who was an outfielder looking to impress somebody now knows that you might see action with the New York Yankees. And one thing you worry about with this Yankee team, Kenny, with the depth and the age, is how do they deal with injury. So now we have to decide who's going to take over for Curtis Granderson. And
you were mentioning the fact that there's 100 home runs missing already, and now you take away your leading home run hitter from a year ago when Granderson hit 43.
That is a gigantic blow to the Yankees. Obviously, the fact that it's early is better for them, but in your second spring training game, to lose your leading home run hitter, there's no way to sugarcoat that. That's not good. 3-1. Bobby Wilson fouls it off. 3-2. There are some outfielders in spring that are trying to catch on with the Yankees. You see Vargas's numbers last year in AAA. Strike three. Wilson down looking. The outfielders on the 40-man roster, Zoilo Almonte, who had a big game yesterday, a home run, and also threw out a runner from right field. Ramon Flores, a youngster, who is on the 40-man roster. Melky Mesa, who is going to be playing the WBC for the Dominican Republic. And that's it. Those are the outfielders that the Yankees have on the 40-man roster. Does not necessarily mean that you can't have somebody off the 40-man roster make the team and then you clear room. There's Adonis Garcia, last year in 2 stops in the Yankee minor league system. Pitches low.
Most of the Yankee outfield prospects are going to be at Double-A this year.
Right.
Sledge Heathcott, Tyler Austin, Mason Williams, all 3 should be at Trenton. And that's going to be a pretty strong outfield as far as prospects are concerned.
And the 3 names that Kenny mentioned are the Yankees' 3 representatives on the top 100 minor league prospects in baseball, according to Baseball America, but they're probably a year away at best. And there's some hope that Slade Heathcott could actually maybe get up here at the end of the season if he could conquer Double-A and then make a quick move to Triple-A and up as Adonis Garcia singles to center field. Also, trades are a possibility as well, as Brian Cashman, I'm sure, will work the phone.
There's a good story about Heathcott in the New York Post today by Joel Sherman. He talks about how Heathcott had overcome some demons in his life and some problems, and now all of a sudden seems to have himself back on track and has become one of the top Yankee prospects.
Another person in camp who might have a chance now, as Thomas Neal takes low, is Matt Diaz, who's on the camp roster as a minor league invite, a make good contract, but he has major league experience. He's an outfielder, so that's something the Yankees could look toward.
Right-handed hitter. See, one of the problems with making a trade after one of your players goes down, the other teams know that you're a little desperate. They might be asking for a little bit more.
Another guy who has a chance is a former Yankee invited to camp, Juan Rivera, who has a lot of major league experience. So right now, 5 minutes after we find out it happens, you would think that this opens up a role for Diaz or Rivera. Neal hits one deep to center field. Goes is there, and he puts it away for the second out.
You're watching the Yankees hit today. They've actually out-hit the Blue Jays 8-7, but they're down 1-0 because they haven't been able to get a hit at the right time. They've been hitting the ball well. It's just the Blue Jays have been able to run down the long shots in the outfield, and there have been some line drives to infielders. After an 8-run outburst yesterday against the Braves, a little quieter afternoon for the Yankees offensively today. They have not scored against Toronto pitching. One thing the Blue Jays have done, they haven't walked anybody in this game. And that's a little unusual for spring training games. Pitchers are trying to get themselves going as well, and sometimes that results in poor control. A lot of base on balls, a lot of high counts.
Now 1-1 to Jason Nix.
The Blue Jays have a totally revamped, well, not totally revamped, coaching staff. Dwayne Murphy remains on the staff, but now he's the first base coach as opposed to being the hitting coach. But Pete Walker is the new pitching coach for the Toronto Blue Jays and manager John Gibbons. For years, Brian Butterfield was the third base coach. Now he moves on to Boston with John Farrell, and Luis Rivera is going to take over as the third base coach for the Toronto Blue Jays.
2-1. 3-1.
And the new hitting coach is Chad Mottola, who played many years in the Blue Jays system. And then was a coach in the system, and now takes over as the hitting coach. So a new coaching staff to go along with all the new players.
Lined up the middle. Nice grab, but he could not hold on to the ball. As Garcia will go to third, and Nix will reach it first.
This is going to go as a base hit for Jason Nix. Not hit well, but well placed. You can see Zawadzki through the middle, gloves it, but he kind of slings it out of the glove as he dives. Hit over heels, ball comes out. And the Yankees have runners at first and third with 2 outs.
Here's Addison Marusak. Pitch is low. Meredith Marakovitz has Curtis Granderson outside the Yankee clubhouse. Meredith.
Curtis, we just got the news. Fractured forearm, out approximately 10 weeks. How frustrating at this point in time to have to deal with an injury like this when you're just getting started for the season?
It's definitely tough. You know, mind and body were feeling great. Looking forward to just getting spring training up and away and going. And 5 pitches in, you know, we got to go ahead and alter things a little bit, but it's just a little bump in the road. It's definitely not the end of everything. Yeah, we get ourselves ready to come back as soon as possible and get back on the field.
When Hat pitched, did you think that it was that bad? Did you think it was broken immediately, or was it not until later?
No, I didn't think it was. And even as we got the X-ray, we were looking at it, and everyone was asking, "Is it throbbing? Do you feel anything above it, like in the fingers or below it in the elbow?" And I didn't. Just specifically on that spot. And the X-ray was done. They looked at it and they said, "Oh, there it is." So you know, I came and saw it myself, and it was clear as day.
I know it's fresh and you probably don't have a ton of information, but what have they told you as far as what's next, what you have to do? It's just a matter of resting for a couple weeks? Or?
Yeah, rest and treat it right now, or we're still deciding if we're going to stay in this brace that I currently have, expand it out, or maybe do something a little bit more permanent. So they're still trying to figure all those details out. And then just the best way to get it back as soon as possible.
When you were talking in the clubhouse, you had said that this is actually an injury that had happened before. How did you bounce back the last time?
Similar. I got hit on the hand at the end of spring training one season, and it was right before things were about to get ready to get started. It was against another lefty, and you know, we had a couple weeks back. But the big thing to learn from that is what did I need to do differently to get myself ready to go sooner than later. Stay with the conditioning. I've already talked to the guys about that, and they're open for me to continue to run and get the body and keep that from here down ready to go. Obviously, I can't throw and I can't hit, but whenever that day comes where I can start hitting and start getting back in the cage, everything else will be ready to go.
Curtis, thanks for the time.
No problem. Thank you.
Michael, send it back to you upstairs.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you, Curtis, who's nice enough to come out after, I'm sure, a really tough bit of news for him to receive. And it's tough news for everybody on the Yankees to receive. We mentioned throughout the show that, you know, they're 100 home runs down, and this is where Joe Girardi tells Tony Pena about Granderson. Check out Pena's reaction. And that, I'm sure, is the reaction of Yankee fans.
Yeah.
I'm looking on Twitter. People are just absolutely blown away. It's more than a bit of bad news, and you don't want to say it's the end of the world, but it's certainly not good news. We're not going to sit here and try to spin it any other way. For a team that was lacking power, now to lose a 43 home run guy for the first month and a half of the season, it's not good, Ken.
Not good at all. And you think about all the work that players now put into getting ready for spring training. And players work out mostly all winter long, and all of a sudden, first at bat, you're done for 10 weeks. But I like Curtis's attitude. He says, well, at least I can keep running and doing that sort of thing and keep my legs in shape, although he won't be able to throw, and he certainly won't be able to hit. So that's going to be a tough blow. The Yankees are on the lookout for a left fielder.
Bonifacio with a push bunt, and it goes foul. Got a new Yankee pitcher. It's Juan Cedeno.
Yeah. And new batter is Eugenio Velez. He's the hitter.
Joe Girardi told me about Cedeno, a great sinker. Not a good sinker, a great sinker. So we'll look for that. That's what he did last year at AAA.
57 strikeouts in 64 innings. That jumps out.
And on a personal note for Granderson, last year of his contract, and I'm sure knowing Curtis Granderson, I don't believe that's forefront in his mind. It's more or less how this hurts the team. But again, on a personal note, that's a month and a half out of his season that he's going to be down on production.
10 weeks getting baseball ready. That means maybe 8 weeks of recovery until he's ready to start swinging a bat. Then he's going to have to go out and rehab in minor league rehab. And then when the Yankees feel he's ready. One thing I will say this about the Yankees, they do not bring anybody back sooner than they should come back.
1-2. Could not hold up, so Vela is down on strikes.
You think about somebody like Michael Pineda, who I've seen in the clubhouse. He looks in a lot better shape than he did last year this time.
Last year, that was a big injury when Pineda's shoulder went south, had shoulder surgery. But this year, he reported to camp 20 pounds lighter than he had been. Here's Moises Sierra. And the Yankees are hoping they get him back sometime in June, which would be great news. And if he could return to the pitcher that he was with the Mariners before the Yankees made that deal, that would be a big shot in the arm for them. Grounded to third. The backhand. The long throw. Not in time. Sierra beats it out.
That was Rob Seguin trying to make the play at third base, but we saw some of the tools that Sierra has, and one of them is speed. We saw him for a while at the big league level, particularly after Jose Bautista went down with an injury that ended his season for Toronto. Sierra came up from the minor leagues and acquitted himself fairly well.
So Sierra's on first, and Sean Ochinko is pinch hitting for Laurie. Count 1-0. That one is driven deep to left center field. No one is going to get that. It's off the wall. Garcia plays it out there. Sierra rounds third. He's coming home. He will score. They have Ochinko held up, and they get him at second base for the second out. But the Blue Jays do score a run on that RBI double.
Ochinko got into that one, and we saw some of Sierra's speed scoring all the way from first base. We saw it first on the infield hit, and this ball is tagged. Garcia doesn't have much of a chance. All he's doing is retrieving at this point. Ball hits the wall, short hops it. Ball is cut off nicely. Nice play, and here comes Jason Nix back into the picture, reaches for a wide throw, and makes the tag.
So what's that, 8-6-5-4, I believe?
8?
I believe that Culver cut it off.
Was it first baseman that cut off the throw?
I think it was Cito Culver, maybe.
No, Culver would have been out there for the relay.
No, he cut the ball off in the outfield, then threw it into
the first baseman.
To Seguin, I believe. Seguin cut it off. The third baseman, and he threw it to Nix.
Let's see. Here's the 8. 6. Now it was the first baseman. Third baseman has to be a third, cover the in case the runner keeps going.
So then that's 8-6-3-4. Okay. Now, if you're keeping score at home, please stop. It's a spring training game, but we thought we'd give you the information.
That's a true fan if you're scoring in spring training.
I used to do that as a kid.
Look where it led you.
Keep a score here again.
Yeah. My dad actually taught me how to keep score. Of course, as you go along, you have your own way of doing it. You make a few changes.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. That'll do it. But the Blue Jays get another run on 2 hits. Nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 2-0 Toronto. It is 2-0 Blue Jays over the Yankees. Moments ago, Meredith Marakovitz caught up with Mark Teixeira.
Mark, the news just came out. Curtis Granderson's going to miss approximately 10 weeks. How does this team move forward and try to get things together without him in the lineup?
Well, first of all, we feel for Curtis. I mean, it's very, very tough first at-bat of the spring. You never want to see that happen, but we'll just have to have guys step up, whether it's guys that we have here that we brought in on minor league deals or some young guys stepping in. We'll have to have some guys maybe try to fill those shoes. It's going to be tough, but we have to have a few guys step up.
Brian Cashman had said before the season started, before spring started, look, we're not going to hit as many home runs as we did last year. You lost Swisher, Alex Rodriguez out of the lineup. Now Granderson. How much more pressure does that put on you to produce power numbers?
Well, I'm not going to make up all 40 of Curtis's home runs, but what we have to do is everyone has to do their part. Like I said, someone's going to step up. It's going to be a young guy. It's going to be one of the guys maybe that we're not talking about right now, but we will. I think everyone's going to start hearing Juan Rivera's name, Matt Diaz's name. Guys like that are going to have to step up.
Now, you have to be ready a little bit early going to the WBC. What have you changed, or have you changed anything in your routine in the offseason to get ready early?
Just working with Kevin Long a little bit more, laying off the weights a little bit. I've always been someone to really lift very heavy in spring training to try to stay strong all season. But, scaling back the weights and ramping up the hitting, a little extra time in the cage with Kevin.
Mark, thanks for the time.
All right, thanks, Meredith.
Send it back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you to Mark. Mostelier grounds to second, and there's one away. I thought that what Mark said really hits the mark, because you can't sit here feel sorry for yourself and do the math and go, well, we're 143 home runs down from last year. You've got to go out and do your job. You can't say I've got to pick up Curtis's 43 home runs. You do your job. Somebody fills in for Curtis. This is their opportunity. This is their chance. They have to produce. You can't look at it any other way.
Yeah, I also think if you're a pitcher on the Yankee staff, you're thinking, hey, we're going to have to pick up the pace. You know, the whole deal was they feel that you're going to have to allow fewer runs anyway. So that might be even more of the situation now that Curtis Granderson's gone, at least for the first weeks of the season.
Check swing, Seguin grounds it back to Vargas. 2-away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Along with Ken Singleton, Jack Curry, and Meredith Morakovitz, I'm Michael Kay. We're so glad that you could join us for the first of 19 spring training broadcasts. And we will have 150 games during the regular season. The rest will be on Fox or ESPN. So it should be a fun ride here in 2013. And of course, of the 150, about 20 of those will be on our partner My 9 station and be produced here by all of us at Yes. So we're looking forward to a very good season. We hope you are as well, as Gary Sanchez swings and misses. 12th year of Yes. It's gone by quickly, Kenny.
Yeah, tell me about it. You get to my age, Michael, all of a sudden you see the grains going through the hourglass a little quicker.
Count 1 and 2.
Oh, nice play. There he is.
All he brought was his hands. No glove. Vargas sets, and the 1-2 to Gary Sanchez. 2-2. Blue Jays like their bullpen. Their closer is going to be Casey Jansen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Sergio Santos, who they had acquired from the White Sox before last season, but then he got hurt. He was out for the year. Jansen stepped in, did a good job, but Jansen's been somewhat prone to injury in his career as well. But right now he is the closer. And the Blue Jays are a team, despite really getting their lineup together, their starting staff is one of their strengths, and this is their projected bullpen. Jansen will close. Delabar, a hard thrower. Darren Oliver never gets old.
He almost decided to hang him up over the winter, but the Blue Jays got him back into uniform.
3-2. Fouled away. The rotation is a pretty impressive one, and I think this is what has Blue Jay fans excited. They have a Cy Young Award winner from the National League, R.A. Dickey, and then Brendan Morrow, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, and Ricky Romero had a really tough year last year. But going into last year, Kenny, he was their #1 pitcher stuff-wise.
You know what? Didn't he get off something like 6 or 7-1, and then all of a sudden he lost 13 in a row?
Grounded softly at the third baseline. If it stays fair, it's a base hit, and it stays fair. Nice roll for Gary Sanchez, an infield single.
You saw that little tap that he gave Mick Kelleher, the first base coach, as Kelleher came over to congratulate him. He acted like he didn't want the hit. You know, you look in the paper or online tomorrow, you see that one hit next to your name and 2 at-bats, and you'll take it.
Why not?
Yeah, looks like a line drive in the newspaper. That's what the hitters always say.
Here is Cito Culver, a first-round draft pick for the Yankees. And his defense is ready for the big leagues right now, but he struggles offensively as he grounds out to second base right there to end the 8th inning. No runs. Infield single, 1 man left. Tough day for the Yankees offensively. They trail 2-0 as we go to the 9th. the show that gives fans a behind-the-scenes look at the Bronx Bombers. Join Jack Curry as he pays a visit to newest Yankee Kevin Youkilis at his home in California. Yankees Access, Kevin Youkilis today after the game, only on Yes. Well, not much to smile about if you're a Yankee fan today. They have 10 hits, but they have not been able to push across a run. And they've also lost Curtis Granderson for 10 weeks with a fractured right forearm, an injury that he suffered in the first inning while batting against Jay Happ of the Blue Jays. So many in the sellout crowd have headed for the exits as we go to the 9th inning. New pitcher for the Yankees is Jim Miller. Jim was with Oakland last year, and he deals to Blanco, who fouls it away.
Outside of the batter on each side being hit by a pitch, including the Granderson being knocked out for about 10 weeks, neither side has walked a batter today. That's impressive in an early spring training game, that pitchers are coming and throwing strikes.
It is not Blanco at the plate. It's A.J. Jimenez. And the count is 1-1. There's a strike. Miller, a local kid from Morristown, New Jersey. And his family in Morris County watching the game today. So, hello to the Miller family. You waited for the 9th inning, and it is finally Miller time. Count 2-2.
Oh, man. It feels like July, folks.
It's spring training.
Yeah.
So he's born in Randolph, New Jersey, drafted by the Rockies. He's had 3 major league seasons with the Orioles, the Rockies, and the A's last year, and the Yankees picked him up on waivers at the end of November of 2012.
I didn't know they named the town after Willie in New Jersey.
He's very popular. Popped up. Jason Nix backpedals, called off by Neal, and Neal makes the play for the first out. I know Willie is very excited to be part of the WBC staff. Talked to him over the winter, and he was really pumped up. He'll be one of the coaches for Joe Torre.
Now, the trainer on that team is Gene Monahan.
Wow.
So they're putting the band back together.
They just need Ringo. Well, John Gibbons teaching Ryan Langerhans a lesson as he's played the full 9 innings. There's a strike.
Yeah, it is a little unusual to be in there start to finish in an early spring training game. But, you know, Blue Jays want to get a look at Langerhans. He's had some big league experience, both with the Atlanta Braves and we saw him in Seattle with the Mariners. And he's got a chance to hook on as a 4th or 5th outfielder with this Blue Jays team, who seem to be very solid in the outfield with Melky Cabrera, Jose Bautista, and Colby Rasmus in center.
It must be such a thrill for Jim Miller's family because, he has told us that his family members are diehard Yankee fans, and he's got relatives in Parsippany and also in Chatham. And growing up, Jim Miller idolized the guy that he now is a teammate with, Mariano Rivera. Wow. And he said even as a major leaguer, he would stop whatever he was doing if there was a game on TV and Mariano came into pitch. He had to watch. And now he has a front row seat. Had a solid season as a middle reliever for the A's last year. Strike 3.
Well, that's Mariano-like. Miller picks up his first strikeout. Watch him dot the outside corner. No, actually missed the corner, but hit the inside corner. Knee high for a strike. Vic Carapazzo with the call.
So 2 down, and here's another Blue Jay playing the entire game, Andy LaRoche. When you have a split squad, sometimes you do get stuck playing the entire game because they don't bring that many players with them.
See, but you look at it this way. These are 2 players who want to play. They want to be noticed. Speaking of Langerhans and LaRoche. I think Langerhans there was getting some sympathy from one of the Blue Jay players. That pitch was too low.
Ground ball is short. Cito Culver. That will do it. As the kid from Jersey, Jim Miller, works a 1-2-3 innings. Do the Yankees have a spring training rally in their bones? We go to the bottom of the 9th. Go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees are trailing 2-0. They've out-hit the Blue Jays 10-9, but they have been unable to get the big hit. The family trying to get a picture there, but the kids will not sit still. She's directing them. Did she finally get it? Yes, she did.
Dad was frozen, wasn't he?
She's happy now. Trying to wrangle 4 kids and Dad. She's got it done. There's Bobby Wilson. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up. And Jimenez makes the play for the first out. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is Rich Thompson.
Angels in Oakland. Appeared in just 3 games, so most of his work last year was in the minor leagues.
Adonis Garcia takes high 1-0. Count 1-1.
Adonis Garcia, like Ranier Mostillier from Cuba. So they some players who defected from Cuba. And with the World Baseball Classic coming up, we've seen a lot of good players. I think of Yoenis Cespedes, who was finished second Rookie of the Year to Mike Trout last year. Tremendous looking ball player. How does it affect the Cuba team when a lot of their best players are ended up in the minor leagues or the big leagues?
Got a trip to the mound here to see if Thompson is okay. Speaking of Cuban players, I was talking to Jorge Posada, who now lives in Miami, and he's here as a spring training instructor, and he said he runs into El Duque all the time. He said El Duque has turned into not a good, a great golfer.
Really?
Yep. He said he's unbelievable. He runs the baseball academy in Miami. Garcia hits one deep to right center. And that is run down for the second out.
Well, I've heard his half-brother, Livan Hernandez, is not a good, but a great golfer.
So they're both great golfers?
Yes, they are.
Wow. Speaking of golfing, I was talking to Andy Pettis. He's walking out of the ballpark today after working out. When you don't start, you can leave. I said, "You going?" Because I know he loves to golf.
Yeah.
I said, "You going to golf?" He goes, "No." He goes, "I can't do it every day anymore." I said, "Why?" He goes, "The body just," he says, "amazing." He said, "I would golf every single day in spring training." He said, "Now I'll golf 2 days in a row and I've got to shut it down just to." Wow.
No, I could golf every day.
Really? Andy can't do it.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about pitching in front of 50,000 people, though. Or at least something golf related. Maybe not play 18 holes every day.
Count 0-2 on Thomas Neal, so the Yankees are down to their final strike here in the bottom of the ninth. Check swing.
So what do we take away from this game if you're the Yankee manager, Joe Girardi? First of all, this is Granderson's number one. Yep.
And he's probably running scenarios through his head.
Yeah.
How do I make up for that loss of offense?
I'm sure they're going to have some meetings to see what's available. He, along with Yankee general manager Brian Cashman.
Two. Line drive right field. The play is not made, so Neal reaches on the single. And that'll bring up Jason Nix as the tying run.
Yeah, Neal's hit the ball hard a couple of times here, including the sinking line drive that, well, Langerhans has break off his glove and holds Neal to a single.
Nix singled his last time up, his only time up. This was Cano's spot in the lineup, who was 1 for 3. So far in spring training, the Yankees have had two fairly significant injuries. The injury to Phil Hughes.
Yeah.
And he's starting to run in a pool, and the anti-inflammatory medication certainly calmed down the back injury, and they're hoping that they could get him back in a couple of weeks. Neal runs, and no throw. He'll take second. And then what happened today with Curtis Granderson, if you just joined us, first inning, fractured right forearm, and he will not be able to return to the major leagues for 10 weeks as he rehabs that injury. Fouled away. Knicks has been struggling lately. No, the Knicks have been struggling lately. Jason Knicks has done fine.
I was going to say, there's only been one game.
No, he's 1 for 1. The 1-2. Nice block there by Jimenez.
One thing, I kind of take away outside of the Granderson situation is I thought the Yankee pitching was pretty good today. As I mentioned, no base on balls. Blue Jays were just that much better on the mound.
Now, if Knicks could get on, that would bring the winning run up to the plate.
The Yankees had left at least one man on in every inning but one.
And that will bring the winning run up to the plate. Addison Maruzak.
Now, before the game, I was talking to Stick Michael about Addison Maruzak, and he said he's a good, solid hitter. He's got a very, very strong throwing arm. And he's just starting to come into his own as a hitter. So he's starting to open some eyes in the Yankees organization.
High fly ball, left field. This should do it. And it does. As the Yankees lose this one 2-0. So Joe Girardi gets some solid work from his staff. Saw his team pick up 11 hits, but they could not get a run as they lose their first game of the spring. They're now 1-1. The Blue Jays go 2-0 by beating the Yankees 2-0. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up. Stay right here on Yes. Blue Jays 2 and the Yankees 0.